Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so you are able to see.
We can able to see that.
Yeah, okay, so you are able to see the mirror, right? The whiteboard. So what you are seeing actually?
architecture of this SnapLogic, like how
SnapLogic, yes.
Okay, I think
Like the
this.
Cloudplex and the Groundplex, how it was preparing.
yeah,
Okay.
Mm,
the
uh,
Snaplex our logic, how we write pipelines and all, through which the data outflows to different areas.
no, do you see whiteboard mirror.com where I have written 7 Feb 2023? Looks like you are watching it wrong. Just 1 second.
In this architecture diagram. So
Okay, got it. 1 second. This Google Meet is useless. Seriously. Tab window. Okay, okay. Do you see the whiteboard now?
Yeah, we can able to see that whiteboard. 7 February 2020. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yesterday we had some knowledge on SnapLogic. Like we went through like 3 years of SnapLogic, then from where and where it can support like cloud to cloud, cloud to ground, ground to ground and hybrid mode, and a basic of ETL. So all its process and other stuff. So today we're gonna see the components of SnapLogic, architecture of it, and there are something called clusters. So that we call as Snaplexes, where there are multiple Snaplexes. So that we're gonna see today. So majorly this SnapLogic is divided into three parts or three components. So one is called your platform. So platform involves designer, monitor, and dashboard. So this we will see in depth. So if you see this designer, manager, and dashboard, these are the three major tabs you can say we will be used. It gonna be useful for different work. So in designer, you will create your pipelines. In manager, you control your users pipelines. Manager schedule pipelines, and dashboard you gonna monitor. So if any failure happens or if any issue occurs, then or if you want to see the resource utilization or of your Snaplexes, that you can do it in dashboard. So just let me have a look. So if you see this, this is like your control kind of admin side. Majorly, this manager stuff will be used by admins, and you can see all here your pipelines, account, file names. If you are using any file, yeah, and dashboard will be your useful for monitoring. Yeah, if any pipeline is running, you will be able to see here, and you can also see the resource. Like so, this is like Snaplex, which is being used as a cluster or an engine, you can say, for your pipelines. So we're gonna have a look everything, and you can filter based on like 8 hours, or you can also give a custom time to filter out the pipelines. Okay, pipeline health will be like if any pipeline failure or anything happen, then that health will be shown here. We're gonna see it in future. Nothing to worry. So that's how the platform is divided. And coming to Snaplexes, Snaplexes is something you can say heart of the SnapLogic. So everything which you run, which will it will be run on this Snaplexes. So the Snaplexes are majorly divided into four types. So let's see what is Snaplexes. I'll also mention the types of it. So the first type is Cloudplex. The second type is Groundplex. Third type is Hadooplex. And fourth is Sparkplex. Okay. So for a definition, let me write the definition. I don't know if we're able to write here. So Snaplex. So just for to define Snaplex, or if somebody asks in interview like what is Snaplex, then you can say that it. I mean these are the processing engines where pipelines are executed. Okay. So this is as simple as a definition. And so these are like processing engine. As I said, like this is the heart of the SnapLogic where all your pipeline gets executed or it will run on the Snaplexes. Without Snaplex, you will not be able to run any of our pipeline. It will throw an error. Okay. So Cloudplex, what exactly it means cloud? So as name only indicates, it's a Snaplex which is hosted in cloud. Okay. And this for this Cloudplex, you will not have control. So this will be controlled by completely SnapLogic people. They will control in the backend. But this is good for your organization, or what to say, for your um, SnapLogic company, because if anything happens, if something goes down, everything will be controlled by SnapLogic, and you will they guarantee you a good uptime. They say that you will not be um, I mean the Snaplex will not get down, or it will not be you will not have any issue if you run on this Snaplexes. And also it is possible to scale up and scale down your Snaplexes. Okay. So always preferred depends on the company to company, but majorly people prefer Cloudplex because they don't want to take any risk. And Groundplex, so this like manages by SnapLogic. Okay. Coming to Groundplex, so this is a Snaplex where your company manages it. Like they create clusters. So if I say like what is Snaplexes, it is kind of a Linux server in the backend. Okay, so for example, if you have a Snaplex of 3 or 4 nodes, so nodes are nothing but each server. You can say like Linux server, like 4 or 5 Linux server is running in the backend, and all together called as Snaplexes. Okay, just imagine that way. And actually it is the servers which is running in a backend, so that they call it as an Snaplexes. And Groundplex is one which is handled by your own company. For example, if there is they will have an 3 to 4 servers Linux server, they will be running it in their own network. So the outside people, or the SnapLogic people, will not have any control on this. If anything happens, then your internal team of SnapLogic is responsible for its uptime. Okay, so this is managed by your own company in your own environment. So managing this is not that easy. Like you need to have one firewall to be open from the SnapLogic to all the servers, and also servers has to be connected internally to each other. So all that are there. So we'll not have to worry about this complex or Cloudplex or any server. So it will be handled by the company itself. And as you are a developer or as you're going to have a developing environment, so you will not much worry on this. There will be on some other team to handle all this. Now coming to Hadooplex, so this is majorly for working on big data stuff. Okay, and it is something called Yarn. Yarn is a yet another resource negotiator, and that will be executing your pipelines. And SnapLogic can run natively on Hadoop clusters. So Hadoop clusters, I don't know if you have heard about big data, um, and I think it was a big, uh, what to say, the buzz in market like 5 years, 6 years back, and it is currently also being used. Most of the company uses big data, and they uses Yarn as a resource negotiator. So Yarn actually manages your resources. It runs your what to say driver and worker nodes. So all that architecture you can go through from Google. If you want, I can explain you more in detail. But for SnapLogic's perspective, this Hadooplex and Sparkplex is not majorly used. Very few, even I haven't come across a company where this two has been used. Okay, the majorly the people or the company uses is Cloudplex and the Groundplex. Okay. Next, coming to Sparkplex. Sparkplex is same as Hadooplex, but Hadooplex Yarn controls it or provides an resource. But in Sparkplex, there is something called Spark environment. For example, if you Spark cluster, if you might have heard, like in Azure Databricks, so we use a cluster, and that on top of that cluster we run our Spark code. And in here also in SnapLogic, when you have to run your Spark query or if you are working anything related to Spark, in that scenario, you will be using this Sparkplex. And this is not majorly used. And it is like a kind of data processing platform with a collection of processing nodes, like containers, what I said. So that take data pipelines, convert them into Spark framework, and then execute them on a cluster. So basically, there will be clusters in the backend that will take your pipelines and do the processing or execute it, and then in the backend it will create data frames, execute them, and then give back the data. So it's I'm not sure if you have heard about Spark, like Spark, PySpark, PySQL, so or Spark or something called data frame. So all these terms will be you will be able to hear if you are using Sparkplex. Okay, so in the backend, it takes your data, create a data frames, execute it, do the processing, and then provide you the output. So that's for Sparkplex. So, but majorly concentrate on this Cloudplex and Groundplex. So there might be a scenario or use case where interviewer will ask when you will use Cloudplex and in what situation you will use Groundplex, or what is the difference between Cloudplex and the Groundplex. They will not touch Hadooplex and Sparkplex, but these two they will ask. For example, if somebody asks you, so which is the Snaplex you use in your company and why? Or if they can also give a scenario where for any company you wanna design architecture for SnapLogic, and what you will suggest to your client, either to go with Cloudplex or either to go with Groundplex. So it will depend on the company environment, and also it will depend on the design as well. So for example, like if you are connecting applications which are majorly on cloud, in that scenario, and also if your company supports you with the firewall or with the security, in that case you will go with Cloudplex always. And if your company doesn't want or does not have much application which is on cloud, and everything is handled internally, and there are challenges with the security, in that case you can go with Groundplex. For example, companies which work on banking data, banking sector, so they majorly have a firewall constraint, I mean security concern. In that scenario, you can use Groundplex. Okay. I was working with a McKinsey company. They were using Groundplex because they were handling all internally. So in that case, like if you have bigger team, big company who can offer all this, so they can use Groundplex. But companies like CMM3 or smaller companies, they always try to go with Cloudplex. There's no harm in using Groundplex or Cloudplex. It's totally depend on your company environment and company structure. Okay. I'll show you where you will find this. So when you go to designer, you see here, right? This is your cluster, Snaplexes. So right now here they have also provided Cloudplex, and to access this Cloudplex, you will not be able to access this actually. It all will be handled by them. You will not have any control on this. But if you create your own server, then it will show Groundplex here, and then you can use that. So there will be another question like, is it possible to use Groundplex and Cloudplex in the same pipeline design? That's actually not possible. Uh, so if you are, but there is a way you can do it. Like if you have two pipelines, one is parent pipeline and another pipeline child pipeline, you are calling using parent pipeline. So one pipeline you can run it on Cloudplex, and the next pipeline you can run it in Groundplex. Okay, in that case it is possible. But if single pipeline, if you are designing, and in that case you can only use either Groundplex or Cloudplex. Okay. And also if you are promoting your pipeline, so in that after promotion you can use you can change the Groundplex or Cloudplex. So there might be possible that for dev environment they would be using Groundplex, and in prod environment they would be using Cloudplex. That is also possible. Okay. So whatever you see in the Cloudplex, for example, if you are storing anything, any password or anything using Cloudplex, so that will remain in Cloudplex only. And to change into Groundplex, you will have to put the same details in Groundplex as well. So then only, or else it will give throw and password error or authentication error or anything. Okay. So any doubt in this?
Like to in Groundplex, a Cloudplex, we have to authenticate, but in Groundplex, same
Groundplex
right?
also, yeah, it is same only. Only thing is you will change the resource. So this is kind of cluster, you can say.
Yeah.
So you will change this. Nothing much. But if your authorization, if you are using Cloudplex and you have taken and snap created access for S3, so that will remain in Cloudplex itself. But if you want to use Groundplex, in that case also you need to supply that access key and secret key for S3 or for blob storage.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay.
In designer and manager and dashboard, you could write
Yeah.
something there. Designer is for designing the platform for designing these snaps,
Yeah.
and manager is to manage the schedule, something like that, right?
Yeah, manage all your user access, use your pipeline scheduling, your pipeline flow. So that for that we use a
And
manager
another one is dashboard.
dashboard. Yeah,
As a
Dashboard,
dashboard.
As
Yeah,
a SnapLogic developer, we are working on designer only, no?
yeah.
yeah,
Majorly you'll work on designer and dashboard. You will view if any failure happens. So basically you will work on everything, but majorly you will work on designer and dashboard. Manager rarely you will use because it's for admin
dashboard,
people
dashboard is for
designing your pipelines.
okay, designer, manager, dashboard, and design.
Manager, dashboard, and designer. Yes.
Yeah, okay, sure. Understood. Like to get the health and all of the pipelines, we use dashboard, right?
Yeah. So you do not have to I mean by head or keep
Yeah,
in
yeah,
mind. Yeah, we will once we start doing our
okay,
pipelines, right? So at that time we will much more clear.
sure.
Okay. So coming to the third component, we have snaps. Snaps will take it up later because once we start, I'll show you how many snaps we have. And so right now here they are showing 400 plus snap built-in connectors. So connectors are nothing but uh, why they are saying connectors is like you will have to connect your external application. So that they call it as connectors. So and also like there are many applications. There are more than 500 applications to which you can connect to SnapLogic. That they are calling it as a connector. But there are many application or other what to say ETL tool which does not have that this much of connectors, or they would not be able to connect to applications. So so SnapLogic is one which has most of the connectors, and they are inbuilt. You do not have to design your connector. For example, if you are writing any code, you have to write each and everything to connect to, for example, Oracle database. So you need to give a string connection where you will write your host name, port, then username, password, and the database name. So all that you can do it directly. Just click drop down or just provide your details there, and you can just connect it. Okay, so that's they have made it so easy that you will have to. I mean, you do not have to do any programming. It just you have to put details, and then it's done. So that's snaps. We'll discuss more when we start going into start work checking the components of all the snap logic. That time we will check each and every snaps. Okay. Now coming to next topic, architecture. So this is visible, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
So this is your complete architecture. Sometimes they may ask, but it's very important to understand the architecture, and then you will be more understanding how things works in SnapLogic. So it's like how SnapLogic they have designed, how they are using it, so that it's kind of a basic framework for any for their uh, design, SnapLogic design. I will explain you. Just remember there is two things. One is called data plane and one is called control plane. Okay. I'll tell you what it is, and everything is based on this itself. So data transfer. Okay. So they have divided their architecture, SnapLogic architecture, into two divisions. One is called data plane, and another one is called control plane. So data plane is where all your data processing, data transfer, or anything you work on data, like any mapping or anything happening related to data, will takes place in data plane, and it consists of all data sources and snaplexes. Okay, whereas in control plane it consists of platform and snaps. So you can say like kind of control plane is your hardware and data plane is your software. Okay, control plane, for example, in computer itself, if you consider CPU, RAM, and all that stuff, that comes under control plane. And the data plane is where your application get installed, software get installed, or work you do. So all that will be data plane. So this is how majorly they divided their architecture, and this is quite important. And when you say like data plane and where you work on data, so they will not, SnapLogic will not store your data. So they will not have control or access to your data. They will only have access to your metadata. So what is metadata? Um, any of you know what is metadata?
Means the major informations like ID or something, password, not password, like some of the information to fetch the actual information. We use
Like the request and response, like that.
yeah, payload that we use.
Uh, so metadata is like data about data. So it will not have real data, but it will have details of that data. For example, there will be some table, and behind that there will be data. So it will not have access to that data, but metadata will know what is this table, what is its schema. It will not know what inside that table, what data it contains, but it will know what exactly it is. What I mean, it will know the high level of it. For example, it will know the table name, it will know the database name, it will know the column type, and it will know the column data type. Uh, all structure at It will know all hollow structure, but not the real data. So that's nothing but metadata. And SnapLogic will never store your what to say data. But still, if you want to control even that, like metadata, you don't want SnapLogic to even aware about that. In that case, you will have to use GroundPlex. Okay, so even you can control more on if you use GroundPlex, but still they will know your environment, what you are doing, but they will not even have details about metadata. Okay, so that's one of the difference in GroundPlex and CloudPlex. In control plane, they will have all their physical architecture, okay, platform and all the snaps. So snapbacks, all they will have, or you can say that it involves in the what to say, the SnapLogic architecture. So coming to this architecture, the diagram, this is like official diagram from the SnapLogic. The top, everything is your cloud, and bottom everything is your on-prem. Um, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it kind of completely the applications are like on premises application, and the top one are like all cloud applications. So, and this is the Snaplexes. It could be cloud, or this could be majorly Cloudplex. This could be majorly your Groundplex. And if you say this, this is controlled by the SnapLogic cloud web application. You can log in. Like this is like iPass, where you log in your SnapLogic. So this is like front end for you, and all these applications you connect to your what is the SnapLogic. So how it works is like, for example, if I want to connect Facebook or Salesforce, so Facebook provide you developer options so that you can connect with SnapLogic. So when you try to connect any cloud application to your SnapLogic, it will be connected through your Snaplex. Okay, and from Snaplex to your cloud application, all data transfer takes place. But from the Snaplex to your SnapLogic, only metadata transfer takes place. So this will be control, or they will have details. The SnapLogic will have details, but from here to here, Snaplex and to your application, they will not have control. So here your data is connected. Here the metadata will be connected. So if you consider this Snaplex, for example, you can use Groundplex also to connect to your cloud, a cloud application, and also to connect your on-premises application. And similarly here also, to this, you will only there will be a data transfer, and from here to here there will be data transfer, but from here to here there will be only metadata. There won't be any data transfer. And if you see here, there is a firewall between this Cloudplex and the Groundplex. So when you use your Groundplex, so there will be always a firewall involved, and which will have control or networking between your Groundplex and the applications. So you will always have to open a firewall, and yeah. So this is the I mean complete a simple architecture of the SnapLogic. Do you have any question in this?
Groundplex is like a some kind of a security for the data, right? From the company or side
Yeah,
some.
yeah. Groundplex will use it will be used internally by the company. It will be owned by the company itself.
Uh,
Cloudplex is one which will be owned by SnapLogic,
mm,
and you can use either of these to connect it to your application, or either cloud application, or it could be on-premise application.
uh,
Okay. So any other question?
No, no, no. You can understand.
no,
No. So
we
hope
can.
you understood majorly this architecture, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How SnapLogic is connected or connected to GroundPlex, and how GroundPlex gets connected or SnapPlex gets connected to your application. So this we will see physically as well, like how we are connecting. Like we'll take any Snap and we'll try to connect it to any external application. So that way you will understand more. But this is a theory part, and this is very important to understand how we are doing. Like for example, if I start doing pipeline design, if I try to connect, of course you will understand what I am doing, but you will not understand what is the logic behind, or what is the purpose behind doing that. So for that, to understand clearly, this is important to understand architecture. In any company, like if you are working in networking, or if you are an DevOps a guy, so it's very important for you to understand the complete architecture. So then only you will understand the overall picture, or else it becomes difficult for you to understand. So this is you can also get it in cloud, and try to read more on this and try to understand more. Um, if anything missed here, we will definitely get that in that details in um, online. And SnapLogic has a very good documentation. I'll show you that. So the best documentation provided by company is the SnapLogic itself. You will have everything. You will have your examples, and you learn more. Yeah. So this is the official documentation of the SnapLogic, and you can also post question if company has tied up with support ticket. You can raise support ticket, and they will help you. And if you see this, so every time SnapLogic releases updates, so that update details they mention here. So if you see this Feb 2023 release notes, they will mention what exactly they have done the changes in that particular release. And sometimes what happens is like uh, they have updated something, and we our pipeline gets failed due to some or the other reason. So in that case, you will have to check or before doing update. So this update is nothing but upgrading your Snaplex, the Cloudplex, and also Snaps. So even you can update Snaps, and also even you will have to update your Snaplexes. So the Groundplex or the Cloudplex, which I said, right? So that you have to update. So in that case, what happens sometime is like what to say, there will be some patch which would not be working, or there will be some bug wouldn't have fixed, or some bugs in the previous version to this version they would have fixed. So all that details they will mention here. And before going to upgrade anything, you have to come back here and check what changes they have done. So if you see this in this release, in UAT release, they have added this Google BigQuery table create snap. So they have added this snap, and they have added this table list snap. So this is very important for the people who is working with BigQuery. BigQuery is one provided by Google. It is kind of database itself, which is provided by Google, and this is very nowadays being used. And for that, they have released what to say, the snaps. They have done it in UAT. You will not have access to UATs, but when they release to production, you will get that snaps. And this is the release Jan 2023 release, and this is for production release. So if you see this API redesign developer portal, yeah, redesigning the developer portal platform dot releases. So if you see this, this is the Snaplex build. You will clearly able to see which build currently is running. And when you update, you will see this build after updating Snappack version. And as I said, like even for the snaps, they provide update. So this is the Snappack update. Snappacks are nothing but a complete package of multiple snaps. Okay, that we call it as a Snappack. And I think these are the features which they have added. So I think this home button and all this catalog they have added. So this is important. And if you have, this is for the releases, and for updating SnapLogic Designer, even you will be able to see the details of snap packs. For example, mm, so this is a snap. I think this is a JDBC snap, and all these details you will see here. This will go through once we start something, creating the pipelines. Even from the pipeline, from the snap, you will be able to go to their documentation. So if you open this, and when you see and click on this question mark, they will take you to this particular snap documentation. It will take you directly. If you see this JSON generator, and this is your JSON generator, and if you see this is your settings. So what all settings it has, pass through, support type extension, all the details you will see here. The processing pass through, each and everything they will mention what it is, what not it is. So if you see this label, label is a string. Label, yeah, this label is JSON generator. So all these details, like each and every component, what what it is, what it indicates, what you have to provide, all the details they will show you here. And they also give an example pipeline. Yeah, if you see this is an example pipeline. You can download this and you can import it in. I'll show you this. This is important. So the file extension for this downloaded files or pipeline is .slp, .snaplogic. Okay, this people may ask in the interviews, like whatever export you do, SnapLogic pipeline, what is the extension for it? So it is .slp. Okay, so after exporting, you can import here. So this is important. Yeah, download. Yes. So you got don't have permission. Yeah. So if you see this, it has imported that pipeline, and you can also run this pipeline. So this way you can try understanding what exactly it does and how it. So step by step they have given you all the details, and the same thing will be there in the imported pipeline. This is how you can make use of this documentation part.
So we can get that data, the examples they given into the our designer. Right? That's what.
Yeah. So if you see this, even they would have added data as well. So this they have already added data. So if you execute this, you will be able to see the data. Let me validate. So in this there are two things. One is validate and one is execute. I'll tell you all the difference. But if you see this is your output. Okay, and for this, this output is given to this, and this output is this. So they are doing some operation. Nothing to worry here. I'm just showing you mm, just an feel of it, but we're gonna work on this a lot. Okay, so all these features I will tell you, what all this I will tell you, what are these, everything I will tell you. And you can also group this by type. Okay, what are these, why this, only these groups you see, all that I will explain. But let's understand its feature, or its the the outer structure first, and then we will go inside it. So there are advantages of it, of this SnapLogics. So majorly it is the 3 to 4 advantages you can mention. If anybody asks in the interview, this question will be the advantages will be asked based on your experience, not like general type. But for now, I'll tell you just a general one. Like it is kind of unified. I'll just write you. So one advantage is like it's SnapLogic is a unified platform for data and platform integration. Okay, so this is like one general advantage you can say. You can say that SnapLogic is an unified platform for data and also platform integration. It can connect to both legacy and modern application. Okay, so the next advantage would be like self-service. So self-service provides you self capabilities using simple design and platform approach. So self-service, it's like you already have all the snaps, you just have to connect. So that uh, and you can do that by yourself. So that's nothing but self-service. And the other advantage is like it's modern. So it uses modern architecture. It's not on the modern architecture involves like it's on cloud. It's not on something a legacy platform like big data which you do it internally. So right now this SnapLogic is supports like all the cloud, and you can also connect to cloud applications. So that's why we call it SnapLogic as a modern application, and it supports modern architecture along with the legacy application as well. So that's one on the advantage. So in on the advantage is like it's connected. SnapLogic provides Snap for vast array of applications. So it enables you to create custom snaps. You can connect it to multiple endpoints in a single workflow. For example, like in single pipeline, you can connect to multiple application. You can connect it to Oracle, you can connect it to MySQL, or you can connect it to Azure blob storage. So in single pipeline, you can connect to multiple what to say external applications. So that's flexibility it gives, or that advantage it will provide you. So that's connected, and there is something called Iris. Iris um, is an AI based recommendation engine. So I think yesterday I was showing you like when you click or try to hover over here, see, this is an AI based recommendation engine. So whatever you have data here, if you click mapper, click on this, it will directly get connected, and you will be able to see all the columns coming from the previous snap, and you can just select this what all you need and connect here. Just drop it here, and in the target side you will drop the same thing if you need the same name. Okay, and you can do operations over here if you need anything. So this is like one-to-one mapping, and in the mapper is very important. So we will see more in detail. There are options like null safe access, pass-through options. So all this we'll discuss in detail. This is important, and people will ask you this why a mapper has null safe. What will happen if you select null safe access? What will happen if you select pass-through in the mapper? So this details very important to be aware of, and the questions will come from this. Okay, we'll work. We'll explain you more on this when we start doing the pipeline. So this is like the advantage, the iris advantage, where it will recommend your next snap. So and it recommends you like most of the time it will be correct. So like not 100%, but yes, most of the time you will see the right snap it has recommended. And no one take iris more seriously, because once you have experience you know what to use next. But for fresher or for someone who is starting, maybe that will be helpful. And it's good actually. So you can also enable and disable it, but it's a, a good feature for uh, added in the SnapLogic. So that's good to have. So all these are like four, five advantages of SnapLogic. If anybody asks, you can just mention this. If you're writing, I think I can give you the sentences. You can take the screenshots and you can have it. So I have these details. Try to go through all this. Tomorrow we will have a quiz session. So we'll ask some questions and try to answer it. Try to go through this and try to learn um, more snap logic. So whatever I have taught you till now. So in the same, I will prepare a quiz session, and you will see how much you understood or how much that will be beneficial for you and also for me to understand whatever I'm teaching is you are able to grab it or you are able to digest it or not. So on that basis, we will again move it next. So we will look into the components of the SnapLogic tomorrow, and yeah, so we will deep dive more into SnapLogic from tomorrow. Okay. So
Oh,
any questions for now?
nothing.
No, no, nothing.
Okay. Okay then, guys. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.
Okay, good night.